Hello, namaskar, namaskara, namaskaram, namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. I welcome all of you in my class. The reasons why Assam floods every year is here. There are majorly 4 reasons that we are going to talk about and decode the sorrowful fate of Assam. The Brahmaputra river is flowing above the dangerous level, and this is a cause of concern every year. You must be wondering, why does Assam get flooded every year? That is why I'm here to help you understand it. Before we understand the entire detail, we have to talk about the cause of the flood, that is the Brahmaputra river along with its many tributaries. Brahmaputra river originates in southern Tibet, specifically from Chamyangdang Glacier. Chamyangdang Glacier, from there it starts flowing towards the Indian region, enters India through the state of Arunachal Pradesh as Siang. I mean, when it enters Arunachal Pradesh, it is known as Siang. And then when it enters Assam, it becomes wider and mightier. It is known as Yarlung Zangpo when it originates from the Chamyangdang Glacier. So do not get confused between the two rivers. The maximum depth is 120 meters, but the average one is 38 meters. The major feeder of this river and the river system, entire river system, are 2 things when it causes floods. First is the southwest monsoon, and second, the melting glaciers of the Himalayas. Now they are melting at an unprecedented rate. The average discharge of the river is about 19,300 cubic meters per second. It ranks 5th when it comes to the discharge level in the entire world. All right. On record, we can find the mentions of Brahmaputra in the Kalika Puran. It is believed that Lord Parshuram, when he beheaded his mother, he wanted to get rid of that sin, so he took a dip in the sacred river Brahmaputra. And that is why we have a name of a place in Arunachal Pradesh as Parshuram Kund. The course of the Brahmaputra, of course, it starts from southern Tibet. In Arunachal Pradesh, it crosses as Siang. Here, as you can see. Okay, this is Yarlung Zangpo entering Arunachal Pradesh as Siang. Here is Siang. Then it is joined by many tributaries. If we talk about the tributaries, the north ones, we have Subansari, we have Jia Bhareli, we have Puthimari, we have Tipkai, Manas. In south, we have Dhansari, we have Lohit and Dibang. Here is Lohit, here is Dibang, and here is Dhansari, as I told you. Kopili. If you want to talk about the current times, Kopili as well as Puthimari, these are flowing above the dangerous levels. Specifically, if we talk about the northern rivers, these are much steeper as compared to the southern tributaries. This is the reason why there is a lot of flood and sedimentation with the help of the northern tributaries as compared to the southern tributaries. We will get about it into detail as well. So, when it goes into the Assam Valley, it is joined by Dibang and Lohit, as I have already pointed out to you. It enters Assam and becomes more wider, mightier, even in the dry season. So, we can just think about the monsoon season. During the rainy season, the banks are more than 8 kilometers apart. This is due to the widening of the stream. Also, the soil bank erosion, which is done with the help of sediments that are carried through this river. It flows in a braided manner like this, looks like braids. Many streams come together and looks like braids. So it flows in that braided manner, joined by streams such as Subansari, Kopili, Kameng, Manas, Champamati and Sankosh rivers as well. Brahmaputra actually divides into 2 channels. In the northern area, it is the Karkutia channel. Southern Brahmaputra channel is in the south region, in the Dibrugarh and Lakhimpuri districts of Assam. And these 2 channels join to form the largest riverine island, that is the Majuli Island. Alright, this is the Majuli Island. When these 2 join, they create the Majuli Island. It's a very good tourist spot. At Guwahati, it cuts the rocks of the Shillong Plateau, where at its narrowest, it is just 1 kilometer. And the Battle of Sarai Ghat in 1671 between the Ahoms and the Mughals was fought over here. It enters Bangladesh after turning south of the Garo Hills, where it is joined by the Teesta River. When we talk about the drainage area of this particular river in different Indian states, we have Arunachal Pradesh having the largest drainage area, then Assam, West Bengal, Meghalaya, Nagaland as well as Sikkim. The north bank tributaries are much responsible for creating flood-like situation as compared to the southern bank. Why? Because the north bank has very steep slopes, okay, and they have very shallow braided channels, and that is why the steep slopes create the water's route in such a manner that it carries a lot of sediments, boulders, gravel, and they have boulders, pebble and coarse gravel with itself. That is why it raises the riverbed when it meets the flattened regions of Assam. So supposedly this is the river flowing through the steep slopes because of the topography, and here is Assam, which has a rather flattened bed. When it is carrying so much boulders, gravel, when it comes into the contact of the flattened bed, it deposits these gravels here. That means the riverbed raises itself, and hence thereafter the river starts flowing on a raises riverbed, and this is the cause of floods. All right, so I hope you understood this much. They generally have flashy floods, quick floods, all of a sudden, all at once. And the southern tributaries, they are comparatively flatter grades, and that is why they are not so responsible for the you can say deluge over there. They have comparatively low silt charges as well. Not a lot of sedimentation is carried by them. All right, now we have to understand that the nature of Brahmaputra is such we cannot do much about it. Because of the same reason, the region of Assam is known as floodplains. These are actually affected by floods, and as you can see that the average discharge mouth is a lot for the Brahmaputra river. The biggest one is for Amazon, then Congo, then Yangtze, and then Brahmaputra, and then Huangho. Sediment yield, that means how much sediment one river carries. After Yellow River, Brahmaputra is on the second one. The major reason is this sediment yield. The larger the sediment, the more the sediment, the raised the riverbed becomes. The more the river starts flowing above the danger levels. All right, and as you can see, there are so many important protected areas such as Kaziranga National Park, we have Laukhova National Park, we have Manas is pretty far away south, but still Manas River flows over here. So this particular flood water of Brahmaputra is rich in minerals, and farmers used to wait for floods. Now, because the frequency and the intensity has increased, this is creating a problem. Kaziranga is nourished with the help of this particular river, but now it creates a problem for Kaziranga as well. If we talk about the sorrow of deluge in Assam, it's a lot, because around 40% of Assam's land, that is 31.05 lakh hectare of total 78.5 lakh hectare, is affected by floods. That is 10% of the total flood-prone area of the entire country Assam comprises of. Nearly 30% of Assam's land was affected by floods between the year 1998 to 2015. And the annual loss to the tune of rupees 200 crores. So that is not a good news. Between 1953 to 2016, it was mapped that 26 lakh people were affected by floods in Assam every year on an average, 47% annually, and 10,961 animals die every year. State incurs damage of up to rupees 128 crore. Population is over 3 crore in Assam. That is why the magnitude of damage matters. The more the people are affected, the more the damage occurs. So, Brahmaputra factor is the first factor we have to discuss. Assam is situated at the foothills of two valleys, Barak Valley and the Brahmaputra Valley. And these two valleys have a huge network of 20 large rivers and some 50 tributaries. And as I already told you that these tributaries come from a steeper slope, meet the flattened part of the Assam land and deposit their boulders, gravels and sediments. When they have a flattened bed, the river rises and flows above the danger level. And because of this, what happens? Too much sedimentation, too much boulder, too much gravel. Not only that, not only the flooding part is concerning, but also during summers, the sedimentation increases as soil erodes with melting of glaciers. How? When summertime comes, because of climate change, unprecedented melting of glaciers is occurring, right? And when that happens, too much water comes into the river during the summertime because of glaciers, and erosion occurs of the banks because these sediments, they start colliding with the banks of the river. And when they start colliding with the banks of the river, huge amount of land part or chunks of land gets eroded, and that creates a lot of problem. Annual rainfall averages around 2900 there, and that is mostly during the time of June and July monsoon levels. And the 85% of the annual rainfall in the Brahmaputra basin takes place during the monsoon months. Not only that, before monsoon, that is pre-monsoon also, in April and May, a lot of rainfall occurs because of thunderstorm activities. Not only that, Assam is a seismically active zone. That means it is prone to earthquakes because of being in such a geography. When you increase construction activities for development, for residential purposes, it creates landslides as well. And these landslides also take sediments, deposit it into the river, raise the riverbed, and creates a problem. Okay? Earthquakes and landslides, both are responsible for it. And as sedimented rivers move through the state, they are moving through the state, different states, with boulders, gravels. What do they create? They create erosion. This is the erosion that it is creating, because these boulders and gravels, along with the force of the river, they collide with these areas and hence cause erosion. This is the biggest problem there. And a major cause of the internal displacement of the people it is, because when the land, their land where they are living, where they might be having their livelihood, they might be having their shops, something like that. So if that gets eroded, lesser land, what will happen? People will migrate from that region to another region of Assam. Width of the Brahmaputra has increased up to 15 kilometers. That's a lot due to erosion at some places. More than 4.27 lakh hectare has been eroded of land since 1950, and that is nearly 7.5% of the land of the total state. Nearly 8,000 hectares of land is lost every year due to this, and people are losing their farmland because of that. That is creating a lot of migration problem, lot of livelihood problem, and more than 3,800 square kilometer of farmland in Assam has already been eroded since 1954. Moving on, as I have already told you about this, let's talk about the anthropogenic issues as well. When you build a lot of residential area, that creates a problem for the ecology of that place. And the population has increased. Most of these embankments, we have to understand about embankments as well. Why do we develop embankments? To make sure that the river is flowing at a proper course. It is not flowing over here and there. So since the 1960s, a lot of embankments were built. But these embankments have either outlived their utility or they have bad conditions. This is the reason that embankments are not working anymore. So river water breaches are occurring. Rivers are flowing beyond these embankments, and this is causing a lot of problem. Approximately rupees 30,000 crore has been already spent on building embankments since the 1960s. State after state government has done that. And people are cutting hills for ensuring that they have a proper place to have their farmland, either live, build infrastructure. Encroachments are occurring. There is also the reduction in wetlands. Reduction in wetlands causes a lot of problem, because if the wetland will not have the area if the wetland will not have the capacity to absorb the excess water, the water will go to different land areas. That is why we need land and local river bodies. Also, there is increasing number of people. There is an increase in the number of people who are building houses and setting up establishments, which is not good for the ecology. Population density of the Brahmaputra valley is another issue, which has increased from 9 to 29 people when it comes to 1940 to 41 per square kilometer to 398 per square kilometer as according to the 2011 census in Assam. Other than that, the climate change is the biggest problem. Why? First, increasing number of activities such as flash floods, extreme rain, extreme glacier melting. So these are the different reasons. Now it is said that extreme rainfall events because of the changing nature of the climate will increase by 38%, and heavy rainfall will replace continuously low or normal rainfall during the monsoon. What happens during the monsoon right now? There is continuous but low level of rainfall. But now what will happen? Because of an increase in such instances, extreme rainfall events will occur. More rainfall will occur in a short span of time. There is also, because of the increase in the temperatures in the summers, there is melting of glaciers, which will cause more erosion. Because of that, more sedimentation will cause more erosion, which will cause internal migration or external migration as well. How can we overcome this problem? Since the 1982, Brahmaputra board is suggesting that we should develop dams and reservoirs over there, but there are so much protests, there are so many protests against it that we cannot do that. Water Resources Ministry has said that we should focus on short-term goals such as construction of embankments, which has not worked. So that is also out of the picture. It was also proposed that a flood hazard atlas for Assam that is already created. There should be flood forecasting and warning, flood profiling and regulation of reservoirs. Profiling should be done in a manner that people are, they should be staying away from that region. They should not build their farmlands or their residential areas, or other livelihood activities shouldn't be done over there. Other than that, there should be regulation of reservoirs. We should build a reservoir, but we should regulate. Too much reservoir building shouldn't be there. There should be proper forecasting and warning so that proper evacuation could take place. But nothing on ground has been done in these regards. So we need more credible information about the flood warning system so that we can evacuate people at a better rate. Also, we should make sure that these are available in local languages so that people can understand. Shouldn't be like not understandable just in English or in Hindi or in any one language. There should be more institutionalized and technology advanced system for flood warning system, creating chains of flood warning system, revive the wetlands and local bodies so that they can absorb the excess rainfall or the excess water from the river. We should clear human encroachments in the Brahmaputra so that flood is also always going to be there. We cannot change the nature of the river. We cannot do that, but we can change the area. The profiling should be done of the area in such a manner that we can change the habitat pattern or settlement pattern. Embankments should be regularly checked if they are getting breached. Ensure that these are not just white elephants. So these are the many things that we had to cover in today's class. If you want the PDF of this class, you can contact me on my Telegram channel. You can join it by the name of Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ. It is working. And if you have any question regarding UPSC, you can talk to me on my Instagram channel as well. Thank you so much.